Assalamu alaikum, hello and welcome back to day 6 of my tour. For day 6 we started in Skardu where we went to the Safaranga cold desert, rode on to the Shigar valley to see the Shigar fort, crossed over the Shigar river, rode back to Skardu on the other side of the Shigar river, went over the Kowardo suspension bridge and then rode to the KHARPOCHO fort in Skardu. This is the view from the rooftop on the Ringchang Hotel in Skardu. The views here are absolutely amazing. We are just surrounded by high mountains and checking on Google Maps they are in a region of about 4,000 to 5,000 metres. Because Ahmed Ali had wanted to do some photography along the way, he decided to leave his motorbike at the hotel and sit as a pillion on Usman's motorbike, where he could take photographs as we rode along. We did do a tour off the whole of the Skardu main bazaar to look for a place where we could have some breakfast and ended up at a small cafe just behind the Ringchang Hotel where they made us some nice fresh breakfast. We are now heading out of the city of Skardu and heading into the desert. These are the outer suburbs of the Skardu city. There are these speed breakers along this road which pop out of nowhere without warning, and so you have to be extra cautious when riding along these roads, especially at nights. We are entering the Safaranga desert area now. It is one of the highest and coldest deserts in the world and it's situated at an elevation of 2,226 metres. Just on the outskirts of the desert by the roadside, they do have stalls offering various activities such as horse riding, paragliding, microlight flights, jeep safari and quad biking. I did the jeep safari and the microlight flight. The jeep safari was good, but the microlight flight was absolutely fantastic. The jeep safari was good. It was bumpy to start with, but once we got onto the dunes, it was really enjoyable. Desert. It's one of the coldest deserts in the world. It's probably the coldest desert. After we finished doing the drone shots in the desert, the driver took the GoPro off me and did a video shot from outside the Jeep, as he said it would make a good video. This is a pilot for the microlight aircraft. He said it was his family run business and that he and his father had built the aircraft themselves, with the parts being imported from Sweden. When he was pulling out the aircraft from the hangar, I was having second thoughts, as the aircraft did look a bit flimsy and there were no safety gears such as a parachute of some sort, so that if the engine does cut out mid-flight, there would have been some buffer before we hit the ground. The only thing that would have kept me safe should something have happened mid-flight would have been the good old helmet. This is all of the aircraft controls, and a pilot will be sitting next to me next to my boots. The pilot was really good. He did make me feel safe and comfortable throughout the whole flight. I did think the guy was going to hand prop the engine, but luckily it was all electric. My flight was the first flight of the day, and after the pilot had done all the safety checks, we were ready to set off. views from up here are just amazing. It was absolutely brilliant, and if you are in Skardu then these activities are a must. The jeep was about £15 and a microlight flight was about £20. We are back on the road to go to the Shigar Valley to see the fort. The road and the scenery here is just lovely. This is the start of the Shigar Valley. The small lake in the far back there is called the Blind Lake. It is called Blind Lake because it supposedly does not have a water supply or a discharge source and the water remains stagnant. We will not be going there as it is quite a bit of a detour and there are too many other sights to see in Skardu. The river you see here is called the Shigar River. I'm not sure if this river is in any way connected to the Shigar River that we crossed over at the Deosai National Park. The Shigar River that we crossed over at the Deosai National Park is also known as Pani, meaning big water. This river here is called the Borma Harolungma. It feeds into the Shigar River, which then feeds into the mighty Indus River. We have finally reached the Shigar Fort, which is on the left here, and needed to find a place to park the motorbikes. We found a spot just under the trees where the other motorbikes were parked. This is what I call happiness. I'm sat next to a river with the most spectacular views in front of me. I could just sit here all day with a cup of coffee and admire the views. This is the entrance to the Shigar fort with the souvenir shop right next to it. The fort is around 400 years old and was the palace of the Raja of the amateur dynasty of Shigar. As well as being a museum, it is also a hotel. The entrance fee was about £2. It included a guided tour which was absolutely worth it as there was a lot of history here.
राजा हसन खान अमाचा ने तो वक्त के साथ साथ इसकी कंडीशन खराब हो गई तो हमारे जो रिसेंटली राजा ने सामने राजा का फिगर है उनकी 38 डायनेस्टी एक्सपोर्ट को मेक पूरा बल्तिस्तान के नाम उनकी को गिफ्ट कर दिया था 1999 में आप एंड 2004 में ये राजा के वॉच टावर सिक्योरिटी था डायरेक्टली मेन गेट पर नजर रखे जाते थे। इसके अलावा ये वेंटिलेशन पर्पस के लिए भी यूज होती है जिसको भी करना ये रिसेप्शन ऑफ द फोर्ट रिसेप्शन ये राजा का दरबार सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जरूरत थी तो यहाँ पे राजा के पास होती थी तो लोग वहाँ से आते हुए प्रकाश की उम्मीद करते थे और रूलर खुद भी चाहते थे लोग उनके सामने मौजूद हो जाए इसलिए शार्ट डोर ऑटोमेटिकली निकालते इसको भी करना चाहिए ये सिंगल पीस ऑफ स्टोन विदाउट एनी ज्वाइंट इसको काट कर ये 400 जिसमें अन्य की सुबह एपिकोड पेज ये लाइन है तो लाइन ना देता ये मैकेनिज्म यूज हाउसेस में ये आप देखिए ये रॉयल फैमिली मेंबर्स ऑफ रूम और ये हमारी सबसे खूबसूरत स्टैंडर्ड रूम्स हैं।
This is a standard room here if you were to stay here the night. To stay in this room for the night starts from around £70. The fort is very well maintained and is worth a visit if you are in the area. We have left the fort now and are heading to an old mosque in the Shigar Valley called the Allahumabarik Mosque. It is a 14th century mosque and represents the first Islamic religious monument from Shigar and was built by Iranian craftsmen. The Allahumabarik Mosque is just on the right here, but Ahmed Ali told us that we could not visit the mosque as it was closed to the public. This was probably because they were renovating it. We are back on the main road now and found a mosque just around the corner from the Allahumabarik Mosque, which is also under construction, but we were allowed to pray there. The construction workers at the mosque were quite intrigued by Ahmed Ali's camera and wanted him to take a photo of them. We will be crossing the Shigar River and we'll ride all the way around that mountain in front of us to get to the other side of it to get back to Skardu. We are crossing the Shigar River now. We will be turning left after the bridge, but if you were to take a right and drive for about 90 kilometers, you will get to a village called Astore, from where you can trek to get to the base camp of the K2 mountain, which is the second highest mountain in the world. I believe the trek to the base camp takes around 7 days. I am planning to go there either next year or the following year. We did not know what the condition of this road was going to be like, as it was the suggested route on Google Maps to get back to the KHARPOCHO fort in Skardu, and so we opted to do this route. You can see the big boulders here having come down from the mountain, and so there is always a risk of a landslide here. Although the road started off okay, it did start to get rough and we had considered going back to get back on the main road that we came on to travel back to Skardu, but that would have meant backtracking on ourselves quite a bit, and so we decided to continue riding on this road. The views on this road are absolutely stunning. It is not really a road but more of a desert dirt track, and it's very sandy and very difficult to ride on. Usman is asking us what made us come on this road, as he was not enjoying it. As I was riding in front, I was leaving a lot of dust behind me, which was making the visibility really poor, and so Ahmed Ali and Usman held back quite a bit to let the dust settle first before they rode on the track. This village here is called the Kowardo village. I was so glad to see the bridge that we needed to cross over to get off this dirt track road and back onto the main Skardu road. This bridge is called the Kowardo Suspension Bridge, which connects Kowardo to Skardu. We are now crossing over the Shigar river to get back to Skardu. The area on the right here is the Skardu airport. You can get flights from Islamabad to Skardu, but at this time of year it tends to be a hit and miss, as the weather needs to be near perfect before they can set off from Islamabad to fly here. I have seen the flights from Islamabad to Skardu on YouTube videos, and the views looking out from the aeroplane are out of this world. You get to see 5 of the 14 highest peaks in the world, including the KT mountain, which is the second tallest mountain in the world. This area here is called the Katpana Desert. We have finally reached the main Skardu Bazaar, where we will now be heading to the KHARPOCHO fort, which is located above the city on a mountain next to the junction of the Shigar and Indus rivers. KHARPOCHO means king, so it is a king of forts. It was built in the late 16th century by King Ali Sher Khan Anjan between 1580 and 1590 and was used as a military front in many wars. There are two ways to get up to the fort. The first is to ride the motorbike to about midway point and then walk the remainder, and the other route is to take the more arduous walking route from the bottom to the top. I opted for the first route as it was getting late and I did not have the energy after the long ride to walk up any mountain. I was starting to get the hang of off-road biking, but the motorbike was struggling this last part to the midway point. The views at midway point of Skardu is just breathtaking. The trek on foot to the top starts now. It is not too bad as they have carved out steps in the mountain to the top. This is the entrance to the fort. The fee to enter the fort for non-locals was 30 pence. To get into the fort you have to go through the hole in the door. The view from this window is just amazing. You can see all of the city of Skardu from the top of this fort. It looks like there are some constructions and renovation going on, and I believe they are building some sort of accommodation so that tourists can stay overnight at the fort. We are on our way back down now. We got back to the city centre and Ahmed Ali was asking whether we should eat at the same place that we did the night before. For the price and for what it was, I was not too impressed, but maybe during season time when it is busy and the food is served fresh and hot, it may be worth it. I told him to find a restaurant where the locals ate so that we could eat food which is fresh and hot. We ended up eating where the locals ate, and although the decor was not all there, the food was much better in taste and it was a fraction of the cost. That is the end of day 6. Watch day 7 where I visit the Shangri-La resort in Pakistan.